Coming up tonight, record-breaking deadly avalanches in California. Zuckerberg is grilled on a stand in court, and an armed man charges the Capitol.
Coming up next, we're going to have a look at the weather. It's going to be a chilly one, and we may just be getting some more snow.
Welcome to the National Rundown. I'm Alex Cruz.
And I'm Darren Johnson. Authorities say Wednesday that 8 skiers have been killed after being caught in an avalanche in California, the deadliest one recorded in the history of the state. One of the skiers is missing, and one is presumed dead. According to Nevada's County Sheriff Sharon Moon, the skiers were part of a 3-day group trip in the Nevada Sierra Mountains. 7 of the 9 skiers are female. 2 are male, said the sheriff's office. The skiers were on the final part of the trip when the avalanche struck Tuesday. According to Moon, the avalanche was classified as a D2.5 out of 5, ranked in between the avalanche that would bury a person and that one would bury a house, Moon said.
Meta CEO Mark Zuckerberg says Wednesday in Los Angeles that the company does not aim to make Instagram be addictive to users who are young, despite claims that state the opposite. Zuckerberg's trial is the first from a group of cases from over 1,600 plaintiffs, accusing owners of various social media platforms of intentionally designing products that can harm the mental health of young people. One of the plaintiffs, known as KGM, says that addiction and a worse mental being came from using social media at a young age. KGM's attorney went against one of Zuckerberg's claims that Meta has come up with ways to attempt to recognize underage users over time, by saying that these features were not available when a lot of children joined Instagram for the first time. An hour-long rescue in Edinburgh, Pennsylvania, involving dozens of volunteers ended in tears, cheers, and lots of carrots. Mackenzie Robson has the details.
It was a race against time to save a terrified 1,200-pound horse fighting for his life beneath the ice. Lake City Fire Company, Edinburgh Fire Department, the Anna Shelter, and local bystanders rushed to the scene at Edinburgh Lake after calls came in that a horse had broken loose and fallen through the ice.
Received a call for investigating possible horse on the ice, possible horse through the ice.
Not even 10 feet away from where we're standing, 22-year-old Ernie the horse fell at Edinburgh Lake and was submerged for over 40 minutes.
Erie News Now was live on the scene capturing the harrowing rescue as it developed.
Around 9:30, as you can hear what's going on behind us right now.
We spoke with Captain Jim Dale of the Edinburgh Volunteer Fire Department, who was getting ready for bed when the call came in. He immediately sprang into action, followed the horse's tracks to the scene, and remained there throughout the entire rescue.
He was submerged in probably 4 or 5 feet of mud, so cold water and mud. We had to dig the mud out from underneath him, slide a harness around him, and then we had to rig rope to pull him out of the ice, onto the ice.
Oh, he is out.
And then while we're pulling him up on the ice, he stood up and then fell back into the ice.
Eventually getting Ernie to safety, Dale says the game changer was the same crew that rescued the horse had conducted practice drills just a month earlier. Dale adding that everyone who responded to the scene on the lake was a volunteer.
That joint drill a month ago with rescue teams in the area, they were here tonight. We knew them and we worked with them already.
After more than an hour, Ernie finally stood up and made his way to the trailer with plenty of assistance.
And he was able to stand up on his own power, and then the Anna Shelter and the owner took the horse for care.
The veterinarian on scene said she's never seen anything like this before And while Ernie is a fighter, she says everyone on Edinburgh Lake who stepped up to help is a hero.
They're devoted. Right? People have left their families. Some may have just got off work, but everyone's devoted, and they're committed to saving life, property, and animals.
Mackenzie Robson, Erie News Now.
When we come back, driver fleeing ICE kills teacher.
I know you've been grinding. I know things aren't easy. I wonder if you know that we can get help. Love your mind.
We all deserve a place to call home. That's an American dream.
Armed man charges at the Capitol with a shotgun. Tuesday afternoon, 18-year-old Carter Camacho was arrested after running to the U.S. Capitol with a loaded shotgun. As Camacho approached the building, he was ordered by Capitol Police to lower his weapon, where he immediately complied. Once apprehended, he claimed that he was there to just talk to members of Congress. Camacho was found to have additional rounds with him, as well as tactical vests and tactical gloves. And in his car, he had a Kevlar helmet and a gas mask. Capitol Police Chief Michael Sullivan says that he doesn't know what would have happened if the guards were not there. Plans for Jesse Jackson's funeral services are now public. Jackson's family on February 18th revealed preliminary funeral plans for the longtime activist who died at 84. The towering civil rights icon battled alongside Martin Luther King Jr., negotiated global hostage releases, and shamed corporations for their lack of corporate diversity and failure to support voting rights. Jackson founded what would ultimately become the Rainbow Push Coalition. Jackson will have a celebration of life held at the Chicago's House of Hope Church on Friday, February 27th, and a homecoming service at Rainbow Push Coalition headquarters will be Saturday, February 28th, where all are welcome.
Fleeing from a traffic stop by federal immigration officers, a Georgia driver crashed into another vehicle claiming the life of a teacher on their way to work. Oscar Vasquez Lopez from Guatemala pulled over for ICE officers who were seeking Lopez to enforce a 2024 immigration judge's deportation order. Lopez fled from the scene when they approached his vehicle, initiating a high-speed chase that left the teacher dead. Lopez has remained jailed on charges of vehicular homicide, reckless driving, and driving without a valid license. NASA has begun another practice launch countdown in preparation for the first moon flight mission with a team of astronauts since 1972. The Artemis II mission's first fueling test has halted after critical fuel leaks required emergency repairs. Now that repairs have been completed, NASA will be attempting to fuel rockets' fuel tanks in order to set a launch date. A leak-free fuel test must be completed. The estimated date remains at the earliest March 6th. However, that date is not set in stone.
Coming up after the break, Democrats send a counteroffer to the White House on DHS funding as the partial government shutdown continues.
Hate is loud. It gets clicks. It gets attention. Hate, however, is actually quite small. But love is the majority. Love fills our hearts, our lives, our everyday.
Now time for our on-set Q&A. Owen, what are some of the goals of the Board of Peace?
So the Board of Peace today in Washington, D.C. held their first ever meeting. And at that meeting, U.S. President Donald Trump had said that their goals would be to bring about peace in the Gaza region. And he also said that they would seek to do the same in other areas around the world as well. He also said that those associated with the Board of Peace would be able to do and accomplish things that nobody really could think of doing, pretty much.
Were there any other notable figures present at the meeting?
So representatives from at least 40 countries were there in Washington today, according to an article from NBC News. Also, select world leaders were there, including the Prime Minister of Hungary, as well as the President of Argentina.
Okay. And were there any other highlights from this meeting?
There were a lot of things that took place in this meeting. So one of the first things uncovered, according to NBC News, was that President Donald Trump had said that the United States would pledge $10 billion to the Board of Peace initiative, which he said, although it might seem like a lot of money, he said that the price was small compared to the price of war. And of course, the Board of Peace trying to make peace. And then some other things to note from this meeting as well. He also talked about the potential for U.S. strikes against Iran. Although the primary focus was the Board of Peace, President Trump did say that he would give about a 10 or so day plan to see what the next steps would be. He said the U.S. might have to either take a step further or they might not have to as well. He also announced plans for a stabilization force in Gaza that would be, I guess, overseen by the United Nations, that would include countries such as Indonesia, Morocco, and Kazakhstan. And then finally, there are some eyebrows and questions raised about the Board of Peace's Gaza Executive Board because, according to the NBC News article, there is a lack of Palestinian representation on that board, and Israel just joined the Board of Peace a week ago as well, so that could potentially mean disagreements in the future.
Okay. Thank you for your time, Owen.
Thank you.
Democrats send a counteroffer to the White House and Republicans late Monday, related to demands to fund and reform the Department of Homeland Security. While a partial government shutdown continues. The proposal specifics are still unclear. Through a White House official said Tuesday that the parties are still pretty far apart. President Donald Trump said Monday that he would negotiate with Democrats.
President Trump continues to recruit thousands to aid immigration efforts, while some states still push back. As of right now, 10 Democratic states have pushed new laws that prohibit any form of law immigration enforcement agreements with the federal government. The law signings happened last month since the Democratic resistance has increased as the Trump administration faces scrutiny over immigration enforcement efforts in several cities. Los Angeles Mayor Karen Bass has called for 2028 Los Angeles Olympics chair Casey Wasserman to step down following released emails between himself and Jeffrey Epstein's co-conspirators, Ghislaine Maxwell, who is already serving a 20-year sentence for child sex trafficking charges along with some other offenses. The LA 28 Executive Committee of the board stood by Wasserman. Mayor Bass was not fond of the decision and thinks the board needs to look at their leadership.
Next, we will hear from Marcella with the latest world of entertainment.
Thanks, guys. In entertainment news, our first story comes from the pop charts of 2000's teen icon Hilary Duff, making her return back to music after roughly 10 years. Duff is set to release her 6th studio album, Luck or Something, tomorrow, after the tickets for the Lucky Me tour sold out rapidly. Duff has had almost 10 new tour dates to her lineup added and became second on trending for Ticketmaster sales this week. Turning now to the big screen, Hollywood is mourning the passing of Robert Duvall. The Godfather and the Apocalypse Now star died at home, according to a statement on Facebook from his wife, Luciana Duvall, who provided no further information. The actor passed at age 95, with 7 Oscar nominations under his belt. Many tributes have been made to him by other fellow notable stars and fans, honoring his legacy. A new report from the New York Police Department is confirming that a suicidal note left in the bedroom of the Food Network star Ann Burrell's home in Brooklyn, New York, was found by an investigator following her death on June 17, 2025. According to the police report, a journal with suicidal entries was left on a bed in the bedroom. And Burrell's death was ruled a suicide in July of 2025, and she continues to be mourned by those in the food industry and her loved ones. That's your entertainment update. Now back to Darren and Alex at the desk.
Coming up, Prince Andrew arrested for suspected ties to Jeffrey Epstein.
Your life sounds pretty great. Don't let a buzz ruin it. Buzz driving is drunk driving. Your life sounds pretty great. Don't let a buzz ruin it. Buzz driving is drunk driving. Your life sounds pretty great. Don't let a buzz ruin it. Buzz driving is drunk driving.
Brendan Carr, the chair of the FCC in the United States, has confirmed that the agency launched an investigation against the ABC's daytime talk show, The View, over a recent appearance by a politician. The politician in question was Texas State Representative James Tallarico, a Democrat who was vying for the U.S. Senate, arguing that the equal time rule, which was created under the Trump administration, was violated. The FCC's argument is against censorship, and they claim the show censored Tallarico's segment. The interview was barred, and they could not air it on the show.
A fatal pileup has claimed the lives of 5 people in Colorado as a result of high winds kicking up dirt that had caused low to zero visibility. Over 30 vehicles were involved in the crash, including 7 semi-trucks. 4 individuals lost their lives at the site of the crash, while the 5th succumbed to their injuries and en route to the hospital. 28 others in the crash were escorted to nearby hospitals, sustaining moderate to severe injuries. The National Weather Service in Pueblo reported gusts of 65 mile-per-hour winds on the plains near the site of the pileup.
Police arrest actor Shia LaBeouf. He was arrested in New Orleans after allegedly assaulting 2 men. He now faces 2 counts of simple battery. According to police reports, officers were called to the 1400 block of Royal Street in response to a simple battery. LaBeouf was reportedly causing a disturbance and becoming increasingly aggressive. The police report says that LaBeouf hurled a homophobic slur at both victims.
Now, here's Jackson bringing you news from around the world with the World News Minute.
5. Good evening and welcome to the World News Minute. My name is Jackson Hesley, and now let's take a look at what's going on around the globe. In Great Britain, former Prince Andrew Mountbatten Windsor was arrested for suspicions of ties to Jeffrey Epstein, more specifically for potentially leaking confidential information to Epstein while serving as British trade envoy. King Charles III says that he is fully supporting a fair trial for his brother and even backed the authorities that were involved in the arrest. Also, former South Korean President Yoon Suk-yeol has been sentenced to life in prison after declaring martial law back in 2024. The court found Yeol guilty of rebellion after he mobilized troops to surround the National Assembly in an effort to overcome legislation imposed by his opponents. And finally, U.S. President Donald Trump's Board of Peace met for the first time earlier today. More than 40 countries and the U.S. and U.S. allies met in order to work toward reconstruction plans for Gaza. Trump announced that the board has pledged $7 billion for reconstruction, just a fraction of what is needed. What is estimated to be needed. That is all for your World News Minute. Back to you guys at the desk.
Coming up after this break, Connor McAndrew has an update on what's going on in the sports world.
Hear that? That's the sound of your life. But every time you drive after drinking, the music gets drowned out. Buzz driving is drunk driving.
Try to understand me more, and I'll try to do the same.
Listening is a form of love. Find ways to support your kids at sounditouttogether.org.
For decades, I've taught you everything I know. How to safely build a fire and and how to control the flames. But I can only teach wildfire prevention. Only you can prevent wildfires.
An investigation is underway after a pickup driver lost control of his vehicle and plunged into the Delaware River in Philadelphia. The 47-year-old driver was reported to be driving at a high speed before his 2021 blue Dodge Ram entered the water. The vehicle sustained heavy front-end damage, and the driver is reportedly being treated for neck pain, but is in stable condition.
And now let's hear from Connor giving us the latest in all things sports.
Thanks, guys. There are just 3 days left of competition in the 2026 Winter Olympics in Milano Cortina, Italy. And the Olympic medal count shows Norway with a commanding lead of 34 total medals, including 16 gold medals. Italy and the United States are tied for second in total medals with 26. In men's hockey, the quarterfinals took place yesterday with Finland, Canada, Slovakia, and the United States advancing to the semifinals. Finland, Canada, and the United States all had to survive overtime in order to advance. The United States grabbed an early 1-0 lead in the second period off the finish by Dylan Larkin for his first Olympic goal. Sweden's Mika Zibanejad found the equalizer late in the third period to force overtime, but Quinn Hughes delivered the game winner in overtime to avoid the upset. Finland and Canada will face off at 10:40 a.m. Eastern tomorrow, while the United States takes on Slovakia at 3:10 p.m. Eastern Time. The 2026 NBA All-Star Game in Los Angeles took place last week with the Stars edging the Stripes in the championship game. Anthony Edwards was named All-Star Game MVP after a spectacular 3-game stretch, finishing with 32 points, 9 rebounds, and 3 assists. In the Rising Stars event, Team Vince Carter captured the trophy, with Philadelphia 76ers rookie VJ Edgecombe earning MVP honors after drilling 2 game winners and scoring 23 points. Damian Lillard claimed his third three-point contest title by defeating Devin Booker 29-27 in the final round. Lillard accomplished the feat while recovering from a torn Achilles suffered last April. He has not played a minute this season for the Portland Trailblazers, and there are no plans for him to return this year. In the dunk contest, Miami's Kashad Johnson took home the hardware after edging out Spurs rookie Carter Bryant in the final round. Johnson is in his second NBA season after not being selected to compete last year. And finally, baseball fans, it's officially back with MLB spring training as it begins tomorrow with the New York Yankees hosting the Baltimore Orioles for a 1:05 p.m. first pitch. I'm Connor McAndrew. Now back to the desk.
And if you're hoping for good weather, there's some bad news. Snow may be coming. Let's head over to Aaliyah.
Hi, my name is Aaliyah Al-Muhammad, and I'm here to tell you the weather. Starting with tonight, we're having a low of 37 degrees with a 90% chance of rain. So that means you might want to bust out your rain boots and your umbrella. For the rest of the week, starting on Friday, we're going to have a low of 36 degrees with a high of 46 degrees, but there will be some afternoon rain showers. Moving into Saturday, we're going to have a low of 34 degrees and then a high of 48. It's going to be partly cloudy, but you may get a little bit of sun. Moving into Sunday, we are set to get some snow with a low of 30 degrees and then a high of 39 degrees. And then sadly on Monday, we're supposed to get even more snow, especially in the morning, with a low of 28 degrees and a high of 38. Although Tuesday, those snow clouds should be gone by then with a high of 36 degrees and a low of 25. It's going to be a little bit cloudy, but hopefully those sun rays will melt away that snow. All right, now let's walk on to our weather window. How about that weather? It looks like we're in for a little bit more snow coming up. How are you feeling?
I'm tired of seeing the snow. I'm tired of driving, seeing the snow on the side of the road. Can't wait for it to be gone.
I'm just disappointed, honestly.
I know. Punxsutawney Phil failed us again.
Maybe hope. It just, like we see the weather, it just doesn't end up not snowing.
Hopefully. Maybe the sun will melt it away. Fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed indeed. All right. And that concludes our show for today. I'm Alex Cruz.
And I'm Darren Johnson.
Signing off.